Chiefs Kingdom, welcome in to the latest edition, the latest episode of the AP Film Room tonight on the Arrowhead Pride social media, various pages. We're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube, we're live on Twitter. I'm still calling it Twitter. Appreciate you joining us tonight, or if you're joining us later. I'm Ron Kopp Jr., the lead analyst at the site. As always, I am joined by two of my favorite film analysts, Caleb James at CJ Scoobs on Twitter, and Nate Christensen at NateCH32 on Twitter as well. Caleb, shout out, made the intro video. That got me hype. I'm not gonna lie, that was dope. Caleb, I gotta give you the lead off then. How are you feeling tonight?
Doing good, man. It's always more fun doing this after the Chiefs win. They got that first one now. Like we were saying, when we were figuring out what we were going to do for the instant breakdown this week, I chose poorly. I said I want to do the offense. There's nothing fun about what we saw from the offense this week. It was a fight the entire way. But I don't know, man. You got to be feeling pretty happy about the way the defense is looking, because it's starting to look, like the pieces are coming together for that side of the ball.
Yeah, I did get the pleasure. I got the lucky side of that coin, and Nate did to an extent as well. He looked at some defensive stuff. He'll be talking about a little later. Nate, how are you feeling on this Victory Tuesday after a nice win in Jacksonville? A nice win is probably an overstatement.
Yeah, no, I mean, it feels good, right? Jacksonville was the team, makes the playoff last year. You go down anytime you can win on the road. It's a good thing. Defensively, they've carried over a lot of what they did last year. We'll talk about it. Feels more sustainable to me than past years, I guess, when they have kind of peaks and valleys. So, yeah, no, I think you have to feel incredibly encouraged by where the defense is currently.
And just the fact that it's happening early in the season, right? Like usually these kind of performances are like November, December for Spags in Kansas City. So definitely exciting. We should probably have more defensive talk. We have two offensive topics today, but hey, it's okay. We have plenty of stuff on the site to break down coming up this week. Make sure you follow along. And I will lead off tonight because I do want to talk about the Chiefs offense and maybe some of the optimism from this game from the Chiefs offense in the second half, with how the rushing attack all of a sudden kind of came to life, gave the offense a little bit of a boost. And that started right away in the second half, right? The first play of the third quarter was a big 31-yard run by Isaiah Pacheco. And it was all possible because the Chiefs decided to finally let their big boys man up, kick somebody's butt, and open up a huge hole. Instead of playing this outside zone, running from shotgun, running horizontal, running parallel to the line of scrimmage, kind of plucking their way for 4 or 5 yards, never a chance that, Pacheco's going to, find 10, 15, 20 yards out of that. Just isn't happening this year. It hasn't happened this year, right? They make a concerted effort in the second half to get the offense going with a gap, downhill, down blocking run scheme. And here we go. It actually starts at the point of attack here with Noah Gray to the right. I'm showing you Joe Thuney as the puller. He's going to be the kick out, but it does all start with Noah Gray here. He's going to set the tone, down block, and him and Blake Bell are going to secure the edge defender. He's going to help Blake get on him, but he does a very good job of coming off just in time to pick up that play side linebacker. That is his responsibility. Seals him perfectly, right? Seals him, does not let let him get to Pacheco, seals that lane for Pacheco to run off of, and that's where Joe Thuney comes in. Just keeps working down the field. He's looking for a kick out block, because that edge defender sucked in. That kick out block's coming a little later. Finally kicks out the cornerback, and it springs Pacheco for a huge run. This is what I'm talking about. We all talk about it here on in our group chats, on this show, that the Chiefs need to run more downhill a lot of the times, and this is exactly why, a great example of it. But I have more examples of the Chiefs getting downhill in the second half, because it wasn't just that. And there were a few plays, but I wanted to highlight this one as well. A little one back power from shotgun, 11 personnel. I should say the last play was from 13 personnel, got their big boys on the field, got the tight ends on the field, right? This one is nice to see them kind of run into a light box and find some success. This is going to be a little bit of one back power. They're going to pull Trey. Kelsey's actually going to be that H that's going to, do the kick out block here that usually maybe a fullback would do in a traditional 21 personnel set. He's already going to set that tone right there. He's going to make that kick out block, allows Trey Smith to run up here with a purpose. And I love his urgency. I love how strong he gets onto the play side linebacker here. He grabs him. Look how powerful those paws are. He's like a bear, man. You just latches onto him and does enough. Obviously, you'd like to see maybe a little more connection. Continue to latch on so he doesn't come off and eventually help with the tackle. But it was nice to see him getting going. That's where he's best, right? And just in general, even if he's not the one pulling here, if they're running the other way, this is a down blocking scheme, right? You're going to see Donovan down block, although a little bit questionable technique there. Wonder kind of what the rules are there, but you're going to see Thuney kind of help him and then work his way to the backside linebacker, helping on the down block. That's even if it isn't Trey pulling and he's on the other side where Thuney's doing, that's what he's best. He's going to go find somebody, latch onto him, and drive him away from the hole. That's what you do in a down blocking scheme. And you're going to see it one more time here. This was my favorite part of the game, watching back, the offense was they sealed the game, back-to-back run plays at the end before they kneeled. And they did it with back-to-back counter runs, down blocking schemes, the same exact look. Actually, they did change it up a little bit. One was from 13 personnel, one from 12 personnel, but the same direction, same running scheme, running back. Everything was the same for 2 straight plays to seal the game. That's what I'm talking about. That is an attitude of a run game. That's what you need to see from the play calling. It's something that, after the first half, I was wondering, are we missing EB's kind of, Eric Bieniemy, I should say, his kind of maybe discipline and, hey, we got to run the football and run it effectively, run it with purpose to help our offense when it's struggling like it has been this season so far. I love this. You're going to get 13 personnel. You're going to get Noah Gray coming in motion and being the kick out block. And then Blake Bell is actually going to be this puller to lead Pacheco into the hole. So it's actually going to be an HH counter. We're countering back here, down blocking. Again, Donovan, not his best rep here. He helps at first and then kind of loses his footing. Would have been nice for him to attach onto to 33. But what I like about this, and their down blocking is a little unique, right? They're doing it in a way that, they're not selling out for the down block. They're doing it with patience. You can see Creed kind of walk up to his down block here and secure it. But I love Pacheco not just following Blake Bell blindly into where he needs to go, because, he could have had a decent run here, right? Watch Blake Bell put someone on their butt real quick, or not necessarily on their butt, but just stalemate them real quick. But he does see the cutback lane that forms from the down blocking, from guys like Trey Smith securing their guy backside, and he just hits it hard, right? He gets downhill. That's what Pacheco does best, not getting horizontal to the sideline, not running off tackle. Get him downhill, and they do it exactly the same play on the next play here, and this seals the game. Again, down blocking, they're running it to the left. Thuney look at Thuney move that nose tackle with Creed with that great down block there. That helps create some separation. Donovan does a better job here, working 95 down Roy Robertson Harris, and Pacheco just fits in. It's a great play. Blake Bell fits in where he needs to. Absolutely. Again, just a great run play. And this seals it. You can see Mahomes letting everyone know, hey, that's it. That's a first down. So that just where I'm impressed with the second half offense is that the coaching staff finally decided, to use the run game with purpose and help the offense rather than just use it as, again, as I always call it, a filler, right, between pass plays. They've always kind of used it that way. And the last example I want to show to do that is on that fourth and short. We finally saw them not. I have a few words I could use to insult them in this scenario, but they didn't beat around the bush. Let's say they went up and they did something old school, right? This is old school Andy. We haven't seen it in a couple of years because he's gotten so cute. It feels like over the last season or so, and this season as well. Little fullback dive with these guys just slamming down. Jawan Taylor just collapsing the defensive line along with Trey Smith. It gets them the first down with ease, and that's what we need to see more of. We need to see them trust their offensive line to bully guys and get the separation up the middle and forward that they need on fourth and shorts, third and shorts. It was really refreshing to see them kind of go back to that after not really seeing much of that for a while in Andy Reid's play calling. And so a nice little good taste in our mouths to end on the offensive side of the ball in week 2. Hopefully we kind of see that run game, that purposeful run game kind of, continue to manifest itself, because we could be right back here in week 3 and they're still running the same vanilla stuff back and forth. And that was just kind of a one game thing to get through, and I get it, but it'd be nice to see, that become more of a staple part of the run game. Caleb, you are talking about Jawan Taylor. How did you feel like the offensive line played in general, maybe in the run game in that second half? How'd you see it?
Well, they ran the ball twice in the first half, and that's not enough to get any sort of rhythm with the run game.
I should have mentioned that. Thank you for mentioning that. Yes.
They didn't attempt to, and the 2 runs they ran were like the mid-zone lateral run plays that our backs are not built to do. Pacheco's not a, start out slow and then mid-zone guy. He's a let's hit it and go. And then, they've been trying to run the same mid-zone with Clyde for 4 years now, and it's worked maybe 5 times. So, I mean, it's nice to see them start to do it. The counter plays were nice. I like that little double H counter or, FH counter, whatever we want to call it. That's just a nice little wrinkle in there to go along with everything.
Well, I like the wrinkles we saw. You're right. They did it in a variety of ways. They did the GH counters. They did the HH counter, like you just mentioned. The one back power was nice to see, where they're running out of 11 personnel with still some down blocking schemes. You don't see them do that a lot, right? A lot of their down blocking stuff is from their 2-back sets. Nate, before I throw it back to Caleb to talk about Jawan Taylor and the offensive line a little more, just any thoughts on the offense in general after 2 weeks? I know, you probably do have some takes, I imagine.
Well, just to be run game specific, I still don't. The second half was progress. There's a couple of things. One, the run ratio is still bad. I mean, it was 48 dropbacks to 15 carries. That's just not a way to win in the NFL. You can't be dropping back 85% of your dropback or like 80% of your plays. In the first half, like Andy kept running like this, like outside zone against like odd fronts, and it was not an advantageous position to like for the guards or anything like that. It's good in the second half he got back to the power stuff. The Chiefs they just need to do that like all the time, and I know that right now they're really struggling to work their play action game, especially from under center. So a lot of the benefits of the power run game maybe aren't there. Like maybe Andy's not comfortable calling it all the time since he can't build play action off of it, but it was progress. But like, let me be clear, it was progress in the second half, but there's still a lot of things that just like marrying run and pass, it's still not there for me.
Yeah, and I kind of mentioned it on Twitter, but I do think there could be something too, maybe just the tight end group, just because they don't have Jody Fortson and it's Blake Bell instead, just maybe not having the same level of receiving ability this year as a whole to kind of threaten out of those 12, 13 personnel sets and really, take advantage passing out of them. It'll be interesting to see, what they kind of do to kind of adjust, get going. Caleb, take it away. Tell us kind of what you wanted to break down here tonight.
Yeah, real quick. I think another reason they might keep trying to hammer zone is because it's what they run their RPOs out of. I still think they want to keep that alive, so that's about it.
Right.
But
exactly.
Getting into my topic, which is very fun. It's Jawan Taylor. And there was a lot of bad offense, but he's kind of taking the brunt of it because a week ago we talked about it and everyone had eyes on him. And he came out and got penalized about as many times as you can be penalized in a football game, regardless of what a guy's doing. The refs were keyed in on him, and he tried to stop, the false starts, the early, leaving early. And still, sometimes I still don't understand how it got to that point. I get the alignment stuff, the snap timing. You see guys do that on every single game. So it felt like it was a little nitpicky there. And then just with them keyed in on him that much, they started to really crack down. And the holding calls were big too, because you can prevent that pre-snap stuff, but it's hard to, the holding stuff's a little more interesting. And really on this first holding call, they were trying to run that little double H counter, but he's down blocking by himself. Now, I thought he should have maybe had some help from Trey, and Pacheco cuts it back. So not really advantageous to him, because if he's blocking, this is the angle he wants to be at. So not really his fault. You see him there at right tackle. He's got the guy. And then, defender sells it a little bit. He's flailing around. This guy's 4 yards away from Pacheco. He's not making this play even if he was there, but he sells it. But they're keyed in on it, so they're going to call it. And then the pass pro, this is what led to like the benching incident, which 2nd and 25, if you're going to take a guy out of the game, that's probably the spot to do it if it's a tackle, because especially the way the Chiefs offense was playing, they needed to reset. And you see just a little hook there. That was all it took. We've seen Andrew Wiley get away with that a lot. We've seen Orlando Brown get away with that a lot. There's a lot of I'm sure you can go back to any game and watch, one or two guys every other drive get away with something like that. It's just they're paying really close attention to it, and they got him for it. So, and getting called for all those penalties in the game's bad. He's going to have to adjust some things. I was saying with with leaving early, I think it would help him if he goes out of a 3-point stance. I think it would help him if the Chiefs just ran the football a little bit more, like we've been saying, so that he can get in that 3-point stance and kind of steady himself. And it stinks that this happened because he played a really good game. Like, he got beat very few times on, they passed the ball a ton. And like true pocket passes, I think he only got beat 2 or 3 times. I had him giving up one whole pressure for the game. And really, he was playing really good. Like right here, he's going against Travon Walker. Walker gets a lot of power on him initially, and he sets it up. And he goes there and, he's gets the block off. He takes care of the power pretty easily from Walker. Walker's throwing his hands up in the air. The Jags knew what was going on. They knew he's getting watched, so they're trying to sell everything at this point. But you see he handles the power well. Very easy block. Defensive end wants a hold. He's not going to get it there. Unfortunately, Donovan Smith, he got kind of left out of this a little bit, but he needs to stop oversetting. He's hurting my eyes, but he should just shut it down right there against Josh Allen and make him beat him around the end. And he oversets, gives up the inside. He doesn't move his feet quick enough, and he gets called for the hold there. So it's kind of one of those things. It's like, everyone's kind of forgot about Donovan Smith. Didn't play that great of a game either from a protection standpoint, just because of some of that other stuff. And we're coming through here. We'll take a look at just it from the other angle. I mean, it's just a good block by Taylor. He's out leveraging the guy. He's a technician in there. And Andy Reid even said this week, he goes, Taylor is big enough, fast enough, strong enough that he doesn't need to do that stuff. And I would tend to agree, because you see he doesn't get off the line early there. But the Jags were trying to run like these little muddled stunt twist games. They didn't really do too good of a job. I mean, watch this. He just completely throws this guy to the ground. That's a great block. Great trade-off with Trey there they're trying to run the twist game. And you can see he slams Walker. They pass him off perfectly. And now he's kind of got that linebacker that was up in like a 3-tech in a bad spot. Just throws him down. Mahomes got all kinds of time. They complete the deep ball. It's a really good play right there. That was kind of what it was for the majority of the game. here's another one. He's just out here minding his own business. Let's see. Doesn't even have to get off early. And this was gets him again. Same play. So, I mean, overall, like, he's drawing all the criticism, and people are like, he got benched. I wouldn't say it was really a benching because he came out quickly the very next drive, and they gave him more chip help. I don't even think he needed it, but they were giving him some chip help late in the game just so he could clear his head, have that little extra, just that little extra reassurance. But the big play on offense to help seal it on the Mahomes connection to Sky Moore, he gets no help from a chip block, and he's got a pretty wide edge rusher, but he does a good job first. This is something that got called out a little bit week one when they had some of those like Aiden Hutchinson, a wide alignment. They said Taylor's leaving too quick. First thing he does on the 5 tech is stab him out and give Trey a hand, because that's where Trey struggles, right? So he's giving Trey help against like a wider 5 tech or a wider head up 4, where you've seen him struggle in the past, and then he's going to come off and they start to try to readjust, and he seals the end. He seals that defensive tackle there, gives Mahomes kind of a window, and they complete the pass. I think he goes down the next play on that play Ron showed. He's actually one of the first guys to come help push the pile, push Pacheco over the line there. So, yeah, he's got to help. He's got to clean up some of the stuff. But everyone is always going to notice when an offensive lineman, especially a tackle, messes up, especially when you got like the entire NFL is jumping on it. And, Ron, you showed some good stuff, but this was a terrible game for the offense. And I've got a couple of plays here. I mean,
yeah, I definitely sugarcoated it for sure. I think that is very accurate.
I mean, it was an all-around bad game, and I'm just pulling up a couple of more clips because there's a lot of guys that play for the Chiefs that I'm sure they should be thanking Jawan Taylor for, taking on the brunt of the issues because, let's just take a look at this. Sky Moore played a pretty good game, but he gets completely smashed here. Kadarius Toney fumbles the ball. And this is on a first down, by the way. So, you've already fumbled. Let's make it worse by picking it up and continuing to run backwards and completely ruin the drive. That was really good. I'm sure Jawan Taylor, that was his fault that happened somehow as he's, trying to run this RPO zone. And everyone knows this is coming, by the way, because the Chiefs only run this kind of zone and RPO kind of look at the same time. So we'll continue through some of these low lights of poor football play, and you got the best center and the best quarterback in the NFL. It's good they're not on the same page in the middle of an important football game versus a playoff team from last year. That was really good. I don't know what was going on. The ball was slick. Creed was having some trouble. I think the the silent count was really messing with some stuff. They kind of abandoned it, and they went to that run under center game, and Mahomes was actually calling out the cadence. And then, we have a fun orbit motion. We've got all this stuff going on here, and Mahomes just holds the ball. He's got Kadarius Toney there at the top of the screen, but he doesn't really trust him, I don't think. He's got Gray. He's trying to force it deep, and he thinks he wants to go out there to the flat, and just an ugly overall sequence to put the Chiefs behind the sticks again. It's hard. I'm not even I didn't include the Donovan Smith catch either, short yardage sprint out that they've been running for 3 seasons. But I'm just like, and there's Jawan Taylor, really good block, just Mahomes holding the ball for entirely too long. And then I think the Chiefs do have to simplify some stuff. I think they have to get back to the basics. This was a big play for me for that. I don't even know what they were trying to set up here because those two just run into each other. I think it may have been some sort of screen, but it looks like Gray was trying to, thinking he was going to hinge back around, or he just got pushed off the ball. I don't know. Overall, just terrible offense for most of the day. They had their good spurts where they did get stuff going. A lot of that was because they were able to run the ball later in the game. I don't know. They have a lot to work on. Bad defense coming to town against the Bears, though, so that hopefully they can get something figured out.
Absolutely. No, this game was won by the defense, and that's what, Nate, you're going to show us kind of some exciting things about the defense, some exciting new things a little bit about the defense, right? What do you got for us?
So at Arrowhead Pride for the film review this week, I wrote about linebackers. I'm just going to show one clip of each of the four kind of main linebackers, but go check that out. Had to cut a lot from it, honestly. It was hard to kind of pare down on the stuff I wanted to talk about because there's a lot of interesting things going on with linebackers right now. But yeah, we'll just talk about one play from 2 weeks for each of these linebackers. We'll start with Willie Gay. I think Willie Gay's had a pretty decent season, honestly. I don't think he's, I don't think it's been like outstanding, but I don't think he's done anything that's been detrimental. But, this was a cool play. First third down of the season versus Detroit. They're going to slant to the right, this entire defensive line. I'll play this out here, which opens kind of the one-on-one since Detroit is full sliding to the left. And Gay just gets a head start, but just uses kind of, he's always had tremendous power in his hands. And just kind of levels to the running back. It's a good kind of pushback in the pocket, affects the throw. Just a strong kind of blitz. The Chiefs are using him a lot as a blitzer, obviously, because he's pretty talented in that area. Next, talking about Drew Tranquill. Drew Tranquill, I could show a lot of clips of Drew Tranquill. He's been very impressive to me, including like an increased amount of physicality, which is surprising to me. But the thing that stands out about Drew Tranquill is the range. I mean, you kind of watch this play. Detroit's going to run like a swing screen with Jahmyr Gibbs here. Jahmyr Gibbs is very fast. Drew Tranquill's completely out leveraged. He's on the other side of this play here, on the other side of the formation. And this is a 2nd and 8. It goes for first down, but just look at him like open his hips and run. This is an 8-yard gain. It turns into a first down, but like I can almost guarantee if that's almost any other linebacker, that's going to turn into a longer gain. They had this blocked up pretty well for the most part, and Drew being able to kind of close off the inside to where Gibbs can't really cut, kind of save this from being a big explosive run. It's hard to only pick one clip for Leo Chanel because he's just been outrageous to start this season. I'm going to be writing about him a little bit more later this week for biggest question of the week because I have a lot of thoughts on Leo Chanel, but he's just been outrageous this year. And I love this clip right here. I believe this is just kind of like same side zone, but kind of regardless of what he does, he's just taking on this tight end head up and just like, look at him just like throw this like block inside. Like he just stacks, he gets extension. He's just throwing this tight end around. It's Brenton Strange, a guy who got drafted last year. Not a great blocker by any means, but just a guy that's, Chanel just be able to get extension, be able to kind of get his power in front of him and swim over to disrupt this run. He's just been doing this all year. Chanel's just been playing at a great level. And finally, talking about Nick Bolton. Nick Bolton, I don't think, I kind of mentioned this in the article, I don't think there's like anything new with Nick Bolton this year, but I do think he's just playing better within like the reads of the defense for the most part. And I'm someone that's always been pretty critical of Nick Bolton for the most part, but he's been playing pretty well for the most part this year. On this kind of last play here, it's a read option in the end zone. So Lawrence is going to keep this, which I was a little bit surprised Lawrence kept it, honestly, but he felt L'Jarius Sneed kind of just like dive inside a little bit. He thought he can make it to the pylon. I mean, it is like a decent like chance. Like if you kind of look at the leverage right here, if you just pause, like Lawrence should have like easy access to the end zone, but Bolton just reads this well. Like he's just sitting on top of it. He sees kind of the mesh point here. He sees, like, I'm guessing he's identifying Lawrence's eyes. And he's just able to get on top of it. And even if Sneed like isn't able to kind of get back in position here, Lawrence isn't beating him to the goal line, I don't think at all. And this is an incredible read. And this is when the game was at, I believe, 17-9 or either like 14-6. Like the Jaguars were within a score of the game. And that's a touchdown saving play. And, who knows what happens the rest of that game. But that was a play that potentially saved the game. So overall about the linebackers, like I said, the article kind of goes more deeply into it, but they're just playing at an incredibly high level right now. This is a good problem to have, but the Chiefs are having issues playing 4 linebackers that are all like deserve snaps for the most part. I do appreciate the creativity they are trying to get into it. They're doing a little more 3-3-5, which I think was more Jaguar specific, but I could be wrong. I'm very interested to track them moving forward, but yeah, no, it's been fun to watch a good linebacker play this year. I mean, I've been gouging my eyes out for like 5 years watching linebackers, and they've been playing well this year. Like they've been like a meaningful, positive part of this defense, and that's a big change.
Yeah, just while we're talking about, we got a little more time, and honestly, Nate, if you have any more clips, you can pull them up. But I thought I think Chenal is really the most interesting part of the linebacker group right now, because the way they're using him, right? Like we're seeing them get him on the field in these 3-3 sets that, I mean, I don't think we've seen them use on early downs really at all. And Spags is, he's maybe used three down linemen, on third downs, obviously in certain packages, but a 3-3 set where 3 down linemen and then that third linebacker and Chenal kind of playing off the edge. You see it right here. Herring as the defensive end, which, I think that was Karlaftis, or Dana, obviously, when it was all starters. I think Dana's right here, though, if I'm not mistaken, right over the guard. And then Wharton is still that 3 tech right here. Just getting that 4-man front. But Chenal is one of those edge defenders, right? And, I tweeted this out, but I just love how natural this is for Chenal, converting that, real quick, converting speed to power, right? I mean, he's just threatening up the edge, getting low, and then using that low center of gravity and bull rushing. I mean, that was fun to see. I don't know. Any more takes on any more thoughts on Chenal? I guess as a pass rusher too.
Well, it's interesting because, and again, I kind of mentioned, I think this was Jaguar specific. They were doing a lot of I'm not an expert on modern defense by any means, but they were doing a lot of 3-5 and mint stuff, while having a 2-eye structure, which to me was dealing with the RPO game of the Jaguars. And the fact that you can use most linebackers aren't able to play stand up edge very much, which is why mint front is not a popular thing in the NFL, just because teams just don't have the linebackers to really do that. But the fact that Leo Chenal is ostensibly an edge rusher who can also turn and run is a massive valuable part of his defense. And the fact that they have Drew Tranquill who can play in the slot a little bit if they need to, or at least bump over to the slot, they're getting into a lot of interesting stuff. I really I almost wanted to I still my brain can't quite comprehend it yet, but they're definitely doing a lot more modern college stuff, and I really do wonder is this just a Jaguar specific thing? That's kind of what I'm thinking, but maybe this is a thing going forward.
Even if it is just Jaguar specific, though, it's just cool to see them kind of be less vanilla on early downs. I think. But specifically, Spags is always crazy on third downs, right? He'll just do whatever. But it's cool to kind of see them shake it up. I feel like he's never really shakes it up on first and second, and that's where maybe offenses in the past can really exploit them, is attacking them on first and second down when he's a little more, kind of easier to predict what he's doing. So I think it's cool. And you saw Trevor. I think it did impact Trevor Lawrence yesterday. I think he missed some stuff just because he was kind of shaken up by maybe how the coverage was being laid out and how the defense was kind of dropping back, and how the just the 3-3 sets, we haven't shown that. It hasn't been on film really. So
I did not chart this by any means, but it felt like the only time the Jaguars ever got into any RPO success was when the Chiefs were in even fronts. When they were in their standard kind of fronts, but just because I think there was a little more of that kind of RPO bubble, but they were able to take that away from the odd fronts. I honestly think the Jaguars are not ready for it at all.
Caleb, what are your thoughts on defensive play from Sunday?
Let's just appreciate that 2 years ago, Leo Chenal was basically a blitzing linebacker 100% of his college plays at Wisconsin. We watched the film, he was running into the line of scrimmage every play, and now you see him reading and reacting to stuff out there. That takes a lot to be able to go from just this raw athlete who can definitely tackle, definitely get after the quarterback, but now you're starting to see it. We didn't even talk about it, but the defensive line was awesome. They beat a really bad Jaguars offensive line. Chris Jones beat a rookie pretty bad. George Karlaftis, the whole gang, they all looked really good out there. I think that's helping the entire thing. Derek Nottie is a new man. He has gone to the summit like Rocky did this offseason, and now he is back playing like it's 2018, 2019 again.
Yes.
So, the defense is a lot to be excited, and Jawan Taylor does lead the league in penalties right now, which is not fun. It's going to happen when you get called that many times in a game. The next leader in penalties is the Bears left tackle, Braxton Jones. He's not very good. It's getting ready to be a slug. They might beat the Bears pretty bad this week.
I'm really hoping it is a get-right kind of game for the offense this week. Honestly, this week, I kind of said this on the pod. I will give a pass to the offense if they don't go, kind of what we were just talking about, the run game. They don't show a lot of that. If they just kind of do a lot of their basic shotgun stuff just because they want to throw the crap out of the ball and get this pass offense going, I'd love to see that. So they get a pass this week if the run game doesn't look very creative. I'll give them that.
I'd like to maybe see some RPO stuff with like some of those counter looks, which is hard. It's hard to do out of shotgun because they run that stuff under center. But maybe some RPOs with a power look, like you saw, Ron. You showed that single back power, maybe something like that, because everyone's seen it at this point. Like, it's the Chiefs RPO zones, nothing new. Mahomes almost completed a heck of a pass to MVS on that one, but Devin Lloyd came in at the last second and broke it up because he was looking for it. It was an awesome play, but they're kind of looking for it because they know it's priority Mahomes throw, not run. So maybe change up some of those looks. You'll mess with the linebackers of the other team a little more.
We're only 2 weeks in, so we got plenty of time to see the Chiefs kind of evolve this year, evolve with all these new pieces. I'll say those were Caleb's final thoughts. Nate, you have any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Yeah, we'll do a lot of the preview stuff for Kingdom Keys, which will come out Saturday, so I won't dive into that. Just the one thing is, like, God, throw the ball downfield. I just want to see that this week. I'm so tired of like the sprint out game, the RPO game. I want to see a game where they throw the ball downfield. And that's all I'll get into that because I'm going to talk about that more tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just said it. I'd love to see a get-right game where they just get Mahomes a 400-yarder, receivers have all sorts of big plays. Would love to see it. Would love to see them bounce back in that fashion. Appreciate everyone joining us tonight. Make sure you're following all of us on Twitter. Make sure you're following Arrowhead Pride on all social medias, on the website itself. We're going to have media tomorrow, so we'll be covering everything once again for you as we lead up to week 3 against the Chicago Bears. For Caleb, for Nate, I am Ron. Appreciate you joining us again. We'll catch you next time.